Hello guys, welcome back to Pulled from the Shelf. I, as always, am your host, Mike Behrman. With me is the waifu trasher, the right-handed doom, my buddy Will.
Hello.
Welcome back, Will. Good to see you, man. Doing well?
Yeah, yes.
You have a good weekend?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, good to see you. Back again is the inauspicious guy in the corner, Nick. How are you, Nick?
Okay.
Yeah, good to have you back, man. Good to see you. Excited for this one. Joining us this week is our buddy and comic book regular at the store, Sean. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, dude. I know you've been pumped up to do this, and so have I, because this is a fun one. This week we're going to get into it in a little bit, and we're going to talk about best and worst comic book adaptations. And we're talking about, and I think right away to clarify, so we are all on the same page. We are talking about movie adaptations, right? We went with live action adaptations, correct?
Oh,
Unless it was a scenario like Big Hero where it was like a Pixar taking the rights from Marvel to make a movie from it. And it went to the theater. Like not like DC straight to DVD, like Batman Gaslight.
Okay. Like we could, because that was part of the problem, is that I was like, otherwise I feel like DC is going to get a really easy time here, because the adaptation job of like their animated films, like their Batman
We can do an animated one next time.
are super clutch. Nick, you look like I just shat all over what you had.
my number one favorite animated movie.
No, it's okay. Then we'll hear you out, right?
His I think would do good.
Yeah, I'm
Patches.
kind of more particularly leaning towards like let's X out like basically all of the anime adaptations and all of the DC adaptations. No, because I feel like the anime is so close to the manga. Same with the DC. Like the Batman movies, right? Like it's so, because it's animated, it's so easy to, you know what I mean? I feel like that's just cheating, right? Like you can literally take it. Like I said, we'll let Nick have his piece, because I feel like if he's got something that's like anime at the top of the list, then he's got it there for a reason. So I'm sure he'll shit all over whatever I just said as I preemptively shat all over what he's gonna say. But
Jordan does say hi to everyone. He wasn't sure if he could make it today because of life stuff, but he was pumped up to do it.
Jordan is a dirty scrub. No, I'm just kidding. He's a good guy, and we'll have him back next time, especially if we're talking about movies, because I know he's into it. But most importantly, they had to be feature film releases, like to theater, right? Like that was like the big criteria. Yep. So no straight to TV stuff. So we're not counting a bunch of the cheesy, like early Marvel stuff that was like straight to TV, because that stuff is pretty rough. That would be like a pretty fast list to fill. I think.
Seagal. Yeah,
no Seagal. We're basically saying he's right off. Like, let's not waste any time.
That was right out of the question.
We basically got to get rid of like all the unmade TV pilots that like got made, and never got aired. You know what I mean? Like all the the big comic gold rush of the 2010s here.
Yep.
Like all the Miller books in the world.
Yeah.
Basically Mark Miller's
Rip
career. Yeah, Rip Huck. The TV rights sold, guys.
That's so good. I was so excited.
Yeah, but they're never going to make it, right? That's my problem. So that's why we're not counting it, right? Like, it's never going to get released. So, you know what I mean? It's not really a thing. I had a bit of a weird time looking at movies for this list, personally, because there's a lot of... Sean touched on this just before we started. There's a lot of bad ones that I think are just like unanimously bad movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I had the opposite. I found it really hard to find bad ones because I really liked a lot of them. And it took me the quickest to find the ones I really liked.
Well, Will has bad taste.
That's fair. No one's denying
It's just admitted on the record on this day of August 9th. The other one that I found is that there wasn't a lot of Marvel movies making either one of my lists too much. I found them like very middle of the road.
I found that too.
Yeah, which is maybe to say I think that's like a bit of a. It's very Disney-esque to play it safe. You know?
Yeah.
They make bank though, and like when they be good, But you know what I mean?
They're really excellent.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem that I've had. Like, I think like my favorite Marvel character, like the best Marvel character movie, I think for me would maybe be Logan, and that's not even a Marvel Studios movie, right? So.
Yeah, I didn't have any make my top 5 either.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, which is kind of a shame because like they are Like, there's lots of really enjoyable ones. Like, I really enjoy, like, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 are awesome. Like, put Kurt Russell in a movie, I'm there. Right?
I say, actually, I had Marvel at number 2 on my list. Like, the
Oh, yeah?
universe. Marvel Universe as number 2.
I'll see, but that's kind of cheating because you got to pick
Yeah,
a
you
movie,
gotta pick a
right?
movie.
Because they're not all equal adaptations.
But they're all
you know?
connected.
There's like 23 of them.
Yeah, that's true, but they're not all equal. For instance, I would much rather watch Avengers than Thor: Dark World.
I don't know, I liked Thor Dark World.
I would rather get poked in the face with like a rusty spike than watch Thor: Dark World.
I guess
most days.
the only one I did split away from the group was Captain Marvel.
Yeah, was Captain Marvel in your tops or in your bottoms?
The worst.
Oh, that was one of your worst ones.
Yeah, my number 5.
Ooh, okay, that's a nice one. So that was kind of my experience, like digging into it. Was that there was a lot of stuff that I was just like, I feel like this is like lots of them were like mediocre, and lots of them were like, well, this is an obvious like shot in the dark, right? Like, hey, what's a good comic adaptation? The Dark Knight, slam dunk, right? Like,
Yeah.
What did you think, Will?
Yeah, that was about it.
No, like, what was your experience still looking into this?
I just remembered a lot of movies that I liked back in the day, and then it was just like, they said like Blade was bad, and I'm just like, come on, man. How do you say Blade is bad? Or they're like, Judge Dredd, the original. I'm like, okay, it's a little bit off, but I liked it. It's no Carl Urban.
Like the
Judge
Stallone
Dredd.
one?
Yeah.
I don't think the Stallone one would make like a top 5 worst, but I don't think it would be on like my list of like
It's
not
very-
good adaptations.
It's very English Judge Dredd.
I think it's like Sean's favorite Judge Dredd for sure, right, Sean?
No, I quite like the Carl Urban one.
I know. I can
Yeah,
just
the
see
Carl
you
Urban
making
one
faces
was
over
more
here,
American
disgusted.
Judge
Will.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. What?
So the Stallone Judge Dredd was more like the European version of Judge Dredd, and the Urban one was the American version.
Well, I felt like it was more of a Sylvester Stallone movie than it was a Judge Dredd.
Yeah, that too.
That was kind of the problem.
Yes.
But like the
So
mutants and
actually,
all that.
I would argue that potentially like Judge Dredd is like a poor comic adaptation because it's not close to the movie. Like you get to see his face.
The whole time almost.
Yeah.
There's one
He
scene
basically
in the
never
comic
wears the
that
helmet.
he does take off the helmet in the comic, but it's a giant sensor bar over his eyes, and when the guy starts like, instead of like him getting shot, he uses it as a tool to disrupt the criminals. So he takes off his helmet, it's just a big black bar, and they all start puking.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Nick, you were about to tear into him.
I was just going to say that having read a couple of the case files, that the Judge Dredd, the Stallone movie, it wasn't satire so much as like just being dumb.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't smart, and like the case files have some sort of intelligence to satire,
Yeah.
whereas it was Stallone, and like I would
Yeah.
never accuse him of being like an intellectual movie by him.
It wasn't like a great era for him either. You know?
No.
Like this is like was it like right after Demolition Man?
It was like 95, yeah. So
Yeah.
it would have been like Stop Where My Mom Will Shoot era.
Yeah, and I love Demolition Man like because it's bad, not because it's good. You know what I mean?
Shut your
Like,
mouth.
and also because Wesley Snipes would be legit. Man.
Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes and Sandra Bullock is a national treasure.
I feel like they just gave Wesley Snipes like the Nick Cage treatment. They just gave him they just fucking fed him cocaine for like 4 or 5
Shoved him in a
hours,
bag.
and then threw him out onto the set. And I was like, "All right, you're a terrorist." And he's like, "Yeah, man. Where are we in the future? Fucking, yeah, right on." And he just there it is.
Laser guns.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes, man. That's how he lived his life back then. I choose to believe that. It's a fun version of Wesley Snipes as opposed to like the probably sad on house arrest version of Wesley Snipes.
I do love Shake a Baby Nick Cage, where you just throw him into a sack of potatoes, shake him up, and let him go.
Yeah, I feel like that dude is probably like the type of crazy person to be like, just kidnap me for the role and take me to set. Don't tell me when.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like 17 movies a year now.
Yeah, and they just like
Direct to Netflix.
he's like the Adam Sandler of dramas.
Of action.
Yeah. What an actual scoop. So Dredd was like that was a weird point of contention for you, eh?
Yep.
But that was a positive. Yeah, I like it's a fun flick. Like I'll give you that, right? It's hard to argue like the merit of some of those cheesy action flicks, but I think it was on like the downslope of like the late 80s action swing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's no Running Man. Or even like Last Action Hero, another early 90s cheesy action flick. I'd much rather watch that.
Yeah.
Nick, what did you find out while you were going through all this stuff? Anything cool? Anything surprising?
That it would be boring if we all just chose superhero movies. So I purposely avoided almost all of them, besides one. And even that is barely a superhero movie.
Oh yeah, very good. I'm excited. Yeah, there was a lot of like not superhero movies, a lot more than I thought. Stuff that I forgot that was like adaptations too, right? Like Old Boy.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, Old Boy
mega
was a-
adaptation. Yeah.
Yes.
I had no idea. That movie's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
I think I knew that actually.
Yeah, I had a hard time cutting that out of my top 5. A really hard time.
Yeah, that's a tough one. There was some other like stuff too that was like kind of randomly out, like early in the 2000s, like before the real rush came in, like with Marvel. Like Will and I looked into it the other day, and it was like 30 Days a Night was a comic first.
Yeah.
And it was like
Yeah.
100%.
You know, I forgot about that, but that's a really
The
good
one
one
that-
too.
That's a good movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
I
That's
love
like one
that
of my
movie.
more favorite vampire
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
flicks.
The one that got me was Edge of Tomorrow. I knew it was a book
Yeah.
first, called
Yeah.
like Kill, Live, Repeat, but it was actually a comic too. I believe it was a book and a comic.
Yeah.
I think it's called All You Need Is Kill.
Yeah, something like
Is
that.
Yeah, is the original.
Yeah.
But it was
original.
personally one of my more favorite, like, the actor's name slips my mind.
Tom
Tom
Cruise.
Cruise. More favorite Tom Cruise movies.
What was a surprising one, at least?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like a huge Emily Blunt fan either, and like I'm not a big fan of either of them, and they really pulled that one together. I think I watched that one like at home on the couch too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let's look at this trash, and it ended up, being like pretty darn respectable.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, right. Like weirdly, like pretty solid. What about you, Sean? What was fascinating you digging into the trash realm of?
The trash was harder because it's like we could all talk about that Catwoman Halle Berry movie for a long time, but it was more like stuff that I actually had expectations for that really disappointed me. Those were the ones that I sort of added to my list, not ones like Judge Dredd that were like obviously bad, but like ones that should have been good and then weren't.
That's like Sean clearly just like voting with his heart. You know what I mean? He's still holding a grudge after all these years.
Oh, I had
I went to this movie on a date and it ended poorly.
not even the movie was heart wrenching. It was the fact that the date never went home with them.
Harsh. Right off the opening bat.
I had that with Supergirl and Red Sonja on my list for bad movies. The hype was there.
Did they make a Supergirl movie?
Yeah,
They did.
it wasn't
Yeah.
worth it.
It had like Faye Dunaway in it, and Helen
It
Slater
was
played.
kind of creepy
Really, Faye
and
Dunaway?
really
I like
stupid
Faye
She was
character.
the villain.
God
Not when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it in
The person,
30
the
years.
characters were dumb. It was very creepy at the beginning with the other characters' interactions with each other, and it was again one of those cheesy, like early Superman era sort of movies.
Like that Christopher Reeve era stuff.
Yeah.
I don't mind like the Christopher Reeve stuff. Well, let's start getting into stuff that like didn't really make our lists that I think is like important enough to talk about, because the early Superman stuff definitely like fit that bill for me, because there's some stuff that I think like swayed dangerously close, a la like Superman 3, which is like kind of atrocious.
Yes.
But like Superman 2, I still legit enjoy that movie. I think that's like actually holds up pretty damn well.
Is that the one with the Zod?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
with Zod. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrence Stamp is Zod, right?
Yeah, he was.
Oh man, he's got an awesome voice too. Like, so he just like crushes that one out. Oh, just go get some English Shakespearean dude to be your villain. He's gonna sound awesome, right? Like,
Flash. I wish Flash Gordon. I don't know. Is Flash Gordon a comic that was a?
It was a pulp magazine, I think.
yeah. So I'm not sure if that counts.
But that would be awesome.
That
That's
would be sweet.
Definitely worth mentioning.
Flash.
It's like the theme song of our store.
Who doesn't love that? There was also like some weird ones for me, like say, like all of like the random Terrible Crow sequels and like the Silver Surfer reboot, which kind of just like didn't really register like as a movie release in my head. You know what I mean?
The Crow was awesome.
Which one?
The Crow was awesome.
Yeah.
The
No,
original.
the Crow is
Yeah,
really good.
That's
The
on
original
my-
one's super
It's
good.
on my best list.
Yeah.
That's all my mentions.
There was like some other ones too that like kind of slipped past me a little bit, like the first Hulk movie. I always forget about. You know what I mean? The Ang Lee one, because it's so
Yeah.
weird.
They went super comic-y with it.
I actually like that movie.
No, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just it's so out there on its
It
own.
is,
right?
yeah.
Compared to
You
like
know?
Yeah.
Immortal Hulk, like the second part of it, where it's
Yeah.
more serious with when they got the more serious Marvel Universe stuff.
No, exactly.
Oh, the Ed Norton one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one that like is a little bit
Incredible
more
Hulk.
part of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Immortal Hulk is a good comic. Incredible
Yeah.
Hulk is the movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Yes.
that comic's so good.
Yeah, I kind of like the that 2000. What is it? 2006 Hulk? No, when was that one out? The Ang Lee one. It was a little more
It's like
introspective,
2002
right?
Or something
Yeah.
like
Less
that, I think.
actiony, a little more introspective. Yeah.
With actual panels in it, which is
With
weird.
Yeah.
the panels, yeah.
But that scene where the guy like explodes from the foam and then it just like goes to gray with like the skull
Mm.
on the comic page and then it flips to where he's in the tube.
Yeah.
That was pretty
I haven't
interesting.
seen it in a long time. I wonder how that.
It's hilarious. It was on
Ages.
Netflix a few months ago.
Man, I should check that one out again, actually, because it's been a hot minute. I
He's
haven't watched
so
that for a
brightly
while.
green on the screen.
Yeah,
and he gets taller every time too, right? Like he's probably 20 feet tall by the end of
Yeah.
that movie.
That's amazing. That sounds sweet. He just like keeps getting bigger.
He just keeps getting bigger. Yeah.
I remember them releasing like a PlayStation 2 game or something of that
Oh,
time.
it was awful.
And that being like really, really bad. It
Because you
was,
played
like,
as
big
Bruce
news.
Banner the whole time. You were just trying to break into facilities and
You
never let you
basically
be
didn't
Hulk.
get to be Hulk. There was like, because the demo you were Hulk.
Yes.
And
yeah.
then you like so rarely got to be Hulk during
Yeah.
the game. And it was like one of the biggest letdowns of the time. I just remember that growing up and being like, wow, F these guys.
I played the crap out of the Iron Man 2 game for the PSP.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Was it any good?
It was
Because Iron
like
Man 2,
a-
the movie, was like...
It was a fun pass.
Yeah,
like,
that's a worst
pretty
list
medium.
one.
yeah, it was like a good one to like pass the time with.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Who's got... let's do worst stuff first. We're talking about stuff that sucks. What did you have for stuff that sucks there? Let's go, Nick.
Didn't think of many because I was more focused on the best.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just off the top of my head, my first real introduction to DC outside of Batman was Green Lantern, the movie. So I was kind of turned off for DC for quite a long time.
Ching!
And like that movie was just the CGI in it and everything about it was just kind of awful. Like not terrible, but just not good. Like aggressively mediocre and not good.
As like a huge Green Lantern fan, there's like two really big steps that they took in that movie that like were really, really bad. And like one was like, let's make the bad guy a cloud.
Yeah, then they get the guy who did the cloud for that Silver Surfer movie and then bring him over and say, like, just add some yellow
Yeah.
and make him parallax.
Yeah.
Because that like made everybody so pissed off in the Silver Surfer movie. Let's
Yes,
just copy
yeah.
that because that won't make
I
everyone
wish
pissed
they did
off again.
Sinestro.
I actually thought they did Sinestro pretty good in that one. Even Kilowog I thought was pretty
Yeah.
cool in that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a huge Kilowog fan. He's one of the coolest lanterns.
Yeah.
One of the weirder ones was just like poor acting. Like Blake Lively is not, in my opinion, a great actress. She's had some good stuff lately. She did that flick with like Anna Kendrick that was like weirdly.
Yeah, she was good in
Murdery
The
and-
Shallows.
Yeah, she was good in The Shallows. That was a good one too. So like she's gotten her child. Like clearly it's like 10, 15 years later, right? But like man, back then, like oh god, like, and everybody loves Ryan Reynolds, but like that was a bit of a stinker of a
There's a
performance.
reason why
He
he
always
jokes
just
about
plays
it.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? He's gonna just be himself anyways.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Bill Murray thing, right? And some people like aren't Bill Murray.
He's the Nolan North. He's the Nolan North of acting.
Who the hell's Nolan North?
He's a voice actor.
He's like
He
the
does,
biggest voice actor in history.
Oh,
He does like Drake from Uncharted. And
oh,
He's like the
okay.
he's like the male.
Sorry, when you said biggest voice actor in history, I could have sworn you said Mark Hamill or Kevin Conroy.
He's up there.
That was just.
Like-
Maybe you sneezed in the middle of that,
Oh.
and it was an accident.
He's like the male Tara Strong.
Okay, yes, I've believe it or not, you've told me who that is before. That's
Yes.
Fem Shep, correct?
Yeah.
See,
And everything else in cartoon history from 2000s and up.
for the record, everybody, that's like the first time out of like 1,000 times I've remembered something Will told me. I'm batting like 1% over here, crushing it.
Noise.
So what else did you have going on? Because I think like Green Lantern, everybody like really didn't like, and I think there was a lot of things that like could have been good about that movie, but just like some poor casting, especially about, like among your main characters, you really forced that like love story angle to so bad, and like let's do Hector Hammond and Parallax, and like do neither very well, special effect wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
In terms of disappointments, there was the Thor movies.
Yeah.
yeah, I like the first Thor movie a lot, and I don't like Ragnarok at all.
I felt the first one was too quick and too confined to one spot on the planet, whereas number 2 and 3 was more larger.
I thought that, so for, anybody who frequents the store and like talks about comic movies will eventually hear me say that the Thor franchise is the worst Marvel franchise in my opinion. It's not very good as far as like their big trilogies go. Number one, here's the lightning round Thor breakdown.
Sure.
Thor 1, big problem. Opening sequence, Asgard, Anthony frickin' Hopkins, all the coolness, fighting frost giants, going to Jotunheim, lightning, sweet stuff, boom. Chris Hemsworth and frickin' Natalie Portman for like an hour and 10 minutes. Then we get like 30 seconds of Thor movies over credits.
Yeah, like in one like city in like
Bro, you don't even get to see him as Thor. He doesn't even win the day as Thor. It's just like cloud. Here we go again with the fucking cloud. You know what I mean? He spins a tornado. And like I dig big chunks of that movie. There's really good things that they did. But in the end, I just feel like, and in theaters, I was like I just felt so cucked. It was like, oh, because I'm sitting there, and there he is. He's about to take out the Destroyer Man. He's Thor again. And this is a classic Thor origin story. I'm so excited for it. And then he's in the cloud, and he beats him up, and then it's over, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh, Destroyer, no problem, right? So for one, like, just Destroyer goes out like a bitch because you beat him up in like 10 seconds. And two, you do it off screen. Like, why even turn into Thor, right? Like, there's no payoff. Like, makes me crazy. And then two, I think it's just like a garbled mess. They have no idea what they want to be, and they just tried too hard to be everything to everybody. Like, let's not talk about like Stellan Skarsgård and Kat Dennings in those movies. I'm not.
It's so disappointed what they did with Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah,
He's such a good actor that just using him as the first movie he was fine.
Yeah,
And then the second movie they make him kind of a bumbling idiot.
they just shouldn't have brought him back for the second movie. I don't know why he was in there. Am I triggering you, Sean?
No, I'm trying to remember. Is that the one where he's in the nursing home? Is that the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of break him out or whatever, or he kind of breaks
Yeah.
out and rejoins them.
I'm
And
just
he's
trying
like
to remember
very
about that.
forced comedic relief. Him and Kat Dennings are
Yeah.
like the two-man crew.
Yeah.
like especially like while like all the like dark elves are like bombing around shooting stuff and the Aether's going crazy. There's like black twisters in the middle of London and they're like quips. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
That's the problem with all the movies.
Like the
They
second
quips and like they undercut themselves.
yeah, but there's like yeah, that's fair. I think some movies do it more.
Yeah.